Hello, my name is Robert Casanave, and today we're going to be talking about the event that shook baseball, the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. Now, before getting into the story surrounding the earthquake, some background information is necessary. The earthquake happened in October 17th, 1989 at 5:04 p.m. It lasted between about 15 to 20 seconds, and it was reported at 6.5 magnitude. It also caused about $6 billion of damage in 1989 money. Now, to equivalent that to 2020 money, it's about $12.4 billion in damage. The disaster also resulted in 63 deaths and almost 4,000 injuries. Now, what changes this topic from just a normal topic to infamous story is the side that involves the 1989 World Series. It was known as the Battle of the Bay because it was between San Francisco Giants and the Oakland A's, and San Francisco and Oakland are separated by a bay, hence the name Battle of the Bay. It was also significant because this is the first time the Giants and the Oakland A's have faced off since 1913, where the two met in the World Series. Also, since both teams are from California and near each other, fans are able to attend both games regardless of location due to the fact that they're so close, resulting in tension in the air since there were a larger group of away fans at every game. Also taken away from the home advantage because the away fans were able to counteract that. Now, before game three, we have game one and game two, which I feel like are important to go over. They took place in Alameda County Coliseum in Oakland. Those two games resulting in a 5-0 win and a 5-1 win for the Oakland A's. However, this is the Giants' chance to come back since game three and game four, we're going to be taking Candlestick Park in San Francisco, giving them that slight home field advantage. Game three is when the earthquake happened. The energy was electric inside the Candlestick Park. They were very excited for game three to kick off. 4 minutes in the game at 5:04 p.m., the earthquake hit, and it was even broadcast on TV. Being the World Series, it was obviously sold out and packed to the brim with 53,000 people attending the game, which is the maximum capacity for the Candlestick Park at the time. The top rows began shaking, which were jam-packed with people, and they thought they were going to die because they were shaking around uncontrollably and people didn't know what was going to happen. However, luckily, Candlestick Park was recently reinforced with expansion joints. Those expansion joints allowing the Coliseum to move slightly with the earthquake, resulting in the Coliseum not toppling over and top stands not falling. And the initial reaction after the confusion was excitement. Everyone was excited. This happened during the World Series. It's a legendary event. This game is going to be amazing. Let's continue on with the game. However, the game did not continue, and it was officially announced canceled at 5:40 p.m. And this is mostly because the crowds did not know what the media knew. In fact, that San Francisco was actually wrecked from this earthquake. Because they were trapped in the Coliseum, they just thought it was a small earthquake because the Coliseum was relatively fine. Now, outside of Candlestick Park, we have San Francisco, some of these images from the destruction that was brought on by the Loma Prieta earthquake. The San Andreas Fault had moved, causing the earthquake. Some buildings collapsed due to the fact that they had not been recently reinforced, and also due to the fact that they were built in the 1930s and 1950s, where engineers did not understand concrete as well as they do today. They weren't able to make it as flexible, as durable, due to the fact that they didn't have the technology and they didn't have the knowledge to do so. Now, one of the most famous incidents was the Oakland Bay Bridge, which collapsed due to the fact that the concrete was susceptible to the earthquake damage. And the second layer fell on top of the first layer, crushing it and trapping a lot of people, trapping over 50 cars in the freeway sandwich. Fires also broke out due to the gas lines breaking. Power and communication were cut off for 3 days and were only reserved for rescue forces and the police force so they were able to communicate with each other, and the media so they were able to send widespread messages. This lasted about 3 days before the power and communication were able to be brought back to the general populace. To end this note on a more positive note, kind of, long-term forecasting actually did work as engineers were actually able to predict this earthquake happening. They weren't able to predict exactly what was happening, but they knew it was going to happen sometime soon. And that was good, but it's not good enough as they need short-term forecasting to prevent deaths and the injuries that resulted from this earthquake. And once they get short-term forecasting, then they can really start doing some good by saving some lives. Now, to end this story, 10 days later, the World Series eventually came back on October 27th, and Game 3 resumed. However, Game 3 and Game 4 resulted in an easy victory for the Oakland A's, resulting in a clean sweep over the San Francisco Giants. This is mostly due to the fact that during the 10-day break, the Oakland A's were able to go to Arizona and train due to the fact that they wanted to keep that edge over the San Francisco Giants. When the San Francisco Giants opted to help out their communities that were suffering from this earthquake. So the Giants probably had a disadvantage to the fact that the Oakland A's have been training for the past week and a half, and also the fact that their communities and loved ones have been struggling through this earthquake since San Francisco, where most of them live. And they're probably still emotionally vulnerable from this disaster. And that's where the story ends in terms of the World Series. But why does this matter? This matters because it's made baseball history. It was one of the only 4 times where the World Series was canceled or postponed. It was also the only time it was canceled due to a natural disaster, being the earthquake. It also helped legitimize earthquake predicting and long-term forecasting and start the understanding of short-term forecasting, as there was some Navy technology near San Francisco that picked up radio frequencies beforehand and decided that they were going to chase that and see if it helped them predict short-term forecasting for earthquakes to help prevent future tragedies. It also taught cities like San Francisco and cities nearby that also suffer from earthquakes that they needed to update their buildings reinforcements, because a lot of buildings were like San Francisco and had been old and built like the 1930s, 1950s, and would definitely not be safe from a 6.5 magnitude earthquake. So cities like that need to reinforce this, that way they'd be able to prevent future tragedies the same scale that San Francisco suffered in 1989. And that's my presentation. Thank you for watching.